In a world obsessed with validation, where likes, shares, and applause define worth, too many people beg for attention, chasing approval like it's oxygen. But the truth? The more you seek validation, the weaker you become. The Stoics knew this well. They lived by a principle that most people ignore today. Your value is not in what others think of you, but in what you do repeatedly with discipline and purpose. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, never sought praise. He focused on duty. Epictetus, once a slave, didn't cry for recognition. He built unshakable character. Seneca taught that seeking approval is slavery, while self-mastery is freedom. These men understood one thing: attention is never taken. It is attracted by strength, wisdom, and unwavering action. So, if you feel invisible, ignored, or underappreciated, don't waste your time begging for eyes to be on you. Instead, embody the Stoic way. Focus on your craft, sharpen your mind, and let excellence speak for itself. Because true respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And the moment you stop seeking attention, you'll find that it naturally follows. True power begins with mastery over oneself. In a world where distractions are endless and temptations pull us in every direction, self-discipline is the rarest and most valuable trait a person can possess. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that the person who conquers their own mind is far greater than the one who conquers cities. Self-mastery is about control, not over others, but over yourself. It means developing the ability to resist short-term pleasures for long-term gains. It means waking up early when your body craves more sleep, putting in the work when motivation is absent, and choosing wisdom over impulse in moments of anger or doubt. The person who masters themselves is not swayed by emotions, nor do they allow external circumstances to dictate their actions. To master yourself, you must start with discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations that a person should rise in the morning and do their duty, not because they seek applause, but because it is what they are meant to do. Imagine if you lived every day with this mindset, free from the need for external validation, operating purely on inner strength and purpose. You would become unshakable. The modern world feeds on attention-seeking behavior. Social media encourages people to constantly showcase their lives, seeking approval in the form of likes and comments. But the Stoic understands that true fulfillment doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. When you focus on mastering yourself, you stop needing validation. You stop craving the spotlight because your sense of worth is no longer tied to what others think of you. This kind of self-discipline extends to every aspect of life. It means training your mind to think rationally rather than emotionally. It means mastering your habits, eating the right foods, exercising regularly, reading instead of wasting time, speaking with purpose instead of mindlessly chattering. Every small action compounds into the person you become. Without self-mastery, you become a puppet to the world, easily manipulated by praise and criticism. You chase attention because you lack inner stability. But when you build discipline, when you strengthen your will, you rise above these distractions. You develop an aura of quiet confidence that commands respect without ever needing to demand it. The opinions of others are fleeting, unpredictable, and often rooted in their own insecurities rather than in truth. If you live by what others think of you, you hand them control over your mind, your emotions, and ultimately your life. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that external opinions have no real power unless you allow them to. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, made it clear: if someone speaks ill of you, do not make excuses, but say, "He does not know the rest of my faults, or else he would not have mentioned only these." This mindset reflects a deep understanding that people's judgments are often shallow and incomplete. Let them think what they want. It does not change who you are. When you attach your self-worth to others' approval, you become enslaved to their praise and criticism. You will find yourself constantly adapting, trying to fit into expectations that change like the wind. This is not a life of freedom, it is a life of dependence. Instead, a Stoic remains indifferent to praise or blame. They focus only on what is within their control, their actions, their choices, and their mindset. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation. Social media platforms are designed to exploit this weakness, creating a system where self-worth is measured in likes, comments, and followers. But all of this is an illusion. The number of people who approve of you today can vanish tomorrow. If your confidence is built on external validation, it will collapse the moment that approval is taken away. True strength comes from within. The opinions of others should be seen as nothing more than background noise. They have no real impact unless you grant them power. This doesn't mean you should ignore constructive criticism. Wisdom comes from learning. But there's a difference between considering feedback and living for approval. A Stoic listens, reflects, and decides based on reason, not on the fleeting judgments of the crowd. By detaching from opinions, you free yourself. You no longer have to prove yourself to anyone. You no longer seek permission to be who you are. You simply live by your principles, guided by wisdom rather than the unstable expectations of others. Actions define a person far more than words ever could. In a world full of talkers, those who quietly build, create, and improve themselves stand out without even trying. The Stoics understood this deeply. They did not waste time seeking approval or explaining themselves to others. They let their actions speak. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in Rome, never sought recognition for his wisdom. He simply lived it. He focused on doing what was right, fulfilling his duties and staying true to his principles. His meditations were not written for an audience, but for himself, a reminder to stay disciplined, to act with virtue, and to remain indifferent to fame. His legacy lives on, not because he demanded attention, but because he embodied excellence. If you want to be respected, do not ask for it, earn it. If you want to be recognized, do not chase the spotlight. Become so skilled, so disciplined, and so valuable that your presence cannot be ignored. True respect is never given freely. It is attracted by those who consistently prove their worth through their actions. Too many people waste time talking about what they plan to do, making promises they never fulfill. They seek validation before they have even put in the work. This is the opposite of the Stoic mindset. A Stoic takes action first, without expectation of applause. They focus on results, not opinions. They understand that mastery comes from repetition, consistency, and resilience, not from empty words. Look at your own life. Are you constantly explaining your plans, seeking approval before you even begin? Or are you moving in silence, doing what needs to be done, and letting success speak for itself? The Stoic way is simple. Improve yourself daily, work on your craft relentlessly, and let your actions be the proof of your dedication. When you operate this way, people will notice, not because you asked them to, but because excellence is impossible to ignore. A person who is disciplined, focused, and purposeful naturally commands attention without ever having to beg for it. In the end, it is not what you say that will be remembered, it is what you do. True confidence does not need to announce itself. It moves with quiet strength, rooted in self-assurance rather than external validation. The Stoics believed that real power comes not from demanding attention, but from embodying wisdom, discipline, and self-control. When you truly know your worth, you have no need to prove it to anyone. In today's world, people often mistake loudness for confidence. They believe that speaking the most, showing off, or constantly seeking validation is a sign of strength. But the reality is the opposite. Those who constantly broadcast their successes, argue for their worth, or seek recognition often do so from insecurity, not confidence. A Stoic understands that true strength is silent. It does not seek validation, it simply is. Think of a lion. It does not need to roar to prove it is the king of the jungle. Its presence alone commands respect. This is the same for a person who has mastered themselves. They do not chase attention, nor do they react to every insult or challenge. They remain composed, knowing that their value is not determined by others' opinions, but by their own actions and mindset. Epictetus, who endured slavery and hardship, taught that real power lies in our ability to remain unmoved by external forces. He emphasized that silence and composure in the face of adversity show more strength than any boastful words ever could. When you learn to control your emotions and reactions, you gain power over yourself, which is the only power that truly matters. In practice, this means speaking only when necessary, choosing words carefully, and acting with intention. It means resisting the urge to prove yourself through arguments, boasting, or seeking validation. A Stoic does not engage in pointless debates or try to convince others of their worth. They simply live in a way that makes their value undeniable. By embracing silence and inner strength, you create a presence that people respect. You become someone who is not easily shaken, someone who carries an aura of certainty without ever needing to demand attention. People are drawn to those who exude quiet confidence because it is rare. Most are too consumed by the need for validation to understand that real power is not in being seen or heard, it is in being solid, unshaken, and fully in control of oneself. In a world full of distractions and external pressures, the ability to stay focused on your own path is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. The Stoics believe that true fulfillment comes not from chasing approval or seeking attention, but from living in alignment with your own values and purpose. When you remain dedicated to your path, outside noise becomes irrelevant. Too often, people abandon their own journey in pursuit of validation. They compare themselves to others, worrying about who is ahead, who is watching, and whether they are being noticed. This mindset weakens them. It shifts their focus from progress to perception, from mastery to approval. A Stoic does not waste time worrying about external recognition. They stay on their course, knowing that true success is found in personal growth and inner excellence. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to focus only on what is within his control, his actions, his discipline, and his mindset. He understood that external rewards, praise or criticism, were distractions. If you allow these things to dictate your path, you will forever be at the mercy of others' opinions. Instead, commit yourself fully to your purpose, regardless of whether anyone acknowledges it. The modern world tempts people to seek quick validation rather than long-term fulfillment. Social media makes it easy to get lost in comparison, measuring success based on attention rather than true achievement. But the Stoic knows better. They understand that external approval is fleeting, while self-mastery and purpose are lasting. When you remain focused on your own path, you become immune to the highs and lows of outside validation. This requires discipline. It means ignoring the noise, resisting the urge to prove yourself, and dedicating yourself to continuous improvement. It means working in silence, building your skills, and letting time reveal the results. A tree does not rush to grow, nor does it seek applause. It simply takes root, strengthens, and rises. In the same way, a person who stays focused on their journey will naturally develop into someone worthy of respect, not because they demanded it, but because they embodied it. When you prioritize your path over attention, you gain something far greater than recognition. You gain mastery over yourself. You become unshakable, moving forward with purpose,